This is an interesting one because it's not a mistake that individuals assume Medicaid is only for the poor. Medicaid is for impoverished individuals. It is the long-term care insurance of last resort. It is a long-term care insurance when you have no money left. But people who don't plan for Medicaid because they think Medicaid is only for the poor are merely fooling themselves, because healthcare is so expensive in this country that even an individual, or I'd say a married couple, for instance, in the state of New Jersey or the state of New York, or really anywhere on the East Coast, who has $1 million could potentially use all of that money towards their long-term care. And a lot of people don't have $1 million, but they still feel that they're well off. And so, yes, Medicaid is only for the poor, but do you want to wait until you're poor in order to qualify for Medicaid? And I don't think anybody does. One of the things that we discuss all the time, and I'm very sensitive to this fact, is that a lot of people think that elder law attorneys are designed only to get everybody on Medicaid. And that is really not what we're trying to do at all. That is the last resort. But what we want to do, we don't want to hide money. What we want to do is we want to protect money to provide our clients with options. Because as we all know, as much as I hate to believe it, money in this society is so important. And when we run out of money, we have no options. So I'm going to discuss this a little bit later with home care versus skilled nursing. But I want to drill this into everybody that if you have no money, you have no options, you have no choices, you lack free will, and you are constrained, and you must use government benefits.
We have a lot of married couples, and I know that you believe that the ill spouse shouldn't spend all of the money, because then the well spouse is not going to have any left.
Mm-hmm, right.
So can you just talk a little bit to that?
Sure. So yes, we have a lot of married couples. And, I think the most poignant way to point this out is that as elder law attorneys, obviously, a lot of our clients are widows as well. And what we find over and over again is that the widow is coming to us to help her, usually, apply for Medicaid because she's already spent all of her money on her husband. So what tends to happen is, and it's interesting because it's very generational. The seniors now are part of a generation that is so generous and so caring, and they've saved all of their money only to send their children to college or to make a better life for their children. And then when their spouse gets sick, to be able to care for their spouse. It's a very altruistic way of thinking, but it's not a fiscally responsible way of thinking. So what we try to train and educate our clients to do is obviously to always provide the best care for the spouse or the parent, but do it in a fiscally responsible way so that we know that there's going to be money left over for the healthy spouse who, if they live long enough, will likely not always be a healthy spouse, but will need some sort of long-term care. Once again, Medicaid is the long-term care of last resort. So again, I'm not trying to push Medicaid on people, but it's a nice backstop to have if you are in an assisted living facility, knowing, and this is actually a very important point, just knowing that you have the ability to have the government pay for your care at some later date and that you will not become impoverished is so important to a senior's health, to their mental health and their physical health, that in itself, if they never even use the protected assets, I believe that the knowledge that it's there is probably the most important thing to the longevity and health of seniors as they age.
Well, and let's not also forget the caregivers that are torn with the decision of, you know, all the decisions that they need to make on selling a home or moving their loved one. So I know that it will put their mind at ease as well.